Glad to meet you all in this new session. Today we will learn the textbook question and answers of the 5th chapter of the social science textbook SSC Board Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. This lesson is taken from the 8th standard social science textbook. The name of the lesson here is Forests Using and Protecting. On to the first question. Do you agree with the following statements? Give reasons for your agreement or disagreement. If you agree, give the reason for why you agree. If you disagree, tell the reason why you disagree. The notion of private property is important to protect the forest. Is it correct to give a forest land as a private property to someone? Like how we have the land in our places other than forests, how we have one land belongs to someone. The same way in the forest also, is it correct to give a particular land to someone? Yes, I agree with the statement. The notion of private property is important to protect forests because it might make at least someone feel responsible to conserve the wildlife and protect the forest wealth from smuggling and illegal activities. Now look, as the forest belongs to the government or it is a public property, no one is bothered if anything goes wrong over there. Suppose it belongs to someone, they would be feeling responsible for it. They would protect it from the harms that it is now undergoing. All forests need to be protected by human beings. Should it be protected by human beings or somebody else? Yes, it is true that it should be protected by human beings. Why? Man is dependent on the forest in one way or the other. So it is his duty to protect it. As he is enjoying all the things from the forest, it is he who has to take care of the forest. As human beings only destroy the forest, it is necessary that it should be protected by human beings only. So we see that animals or birds or plants do not harm the forest. It is a human who is harming the forest. Hence, it is the human, the one who has to protect the forest. The third one, over the centuries, most people live on earth have reduced their dependence on forests for their livelihoods. So many people nowadays who are living on the earth are not much dependent on the forest. Is it true? Yes. The development in IT sector, increase in virtual communications and modernization has minimized the dependence of man on forest for livelihood. On to the next question. Create a timeline to show the major changes in use of forests over centuries. You may be required to look at your textbooks from previous classes. Here the event. First one is the emergence of agriculture. With the emergence of agriculture, what are the changes which affected the tribal life? With the emergence of agriculture, forests were cut down for agriculture and plantation. Only hilly, swampy, rocky regions unfit for cultivation, far away from populated areas were retained as forest cover. So whichever was fit for cultivation, good, fertile soil, all that they took for cultivation, and whatever area was difficult to be cultivated, that all they left as forest. So tribals took up settled cultivation. As much of their part was taken for cultivation, they were left with only a little part which was left as forest. So the tribals also had to go for settled cultivation. Previously they used to go from one place to another and they used to have the cultivation. But now they had to settle in one place and cultivate. What impact did it have on the forest? Using forest areas for cultivation decreased the forest area. Now half of the forest the people had taken for cultivation. So the forest cover decreased. Then came the arrival of the colonial rulers. Because of the colonial rulers, the Britishers and all the other colonial rulers, what was the effect on the tribal people? With the establishment of British rule in our country, the tribal people lost their control and rights over the forest. The forest laws of Nizams restricted the customary or traditional rights of the tribals. Tribal people were rendered homeless. The tribals had to pay a very high revenue for the forest land they cultivated. So this was the condition of the tribals. The foreigners whoever came, they imposed so many rules, regulations, taxes on the people, on the tribal people especially, and this made them homeless. They were in the forest, yet they could not cultivate in the forest freely. What happened to the forests? With the demand for wood for laying railway lines, building ships, the factories, mines, houses, forests were cut down. So these colonial rulers, they wanted to establish their rule. For that they made so much of infrastructure development. For that they needed more wood, so they started cutting the forests. Plantation of tea, coffee, rubber, eucalyptus led to the decrease of the forest area. Not only that, for the commercial plantations, that is tea plantation and the eucalyptus for timber, all these had really reduced the forest area. The government rules. Government rules change the tribal life. The Parliament passed the Forest Right Act in 2006. The act confers on forest dwellers their traditional rights. Later on, the government passed a rule in 2006. With this, the forest dwellers or the tribal people got back their traditional rights. What happened to the forests? It conserved forest and ensured livelihood and food security for forest dwellers. With this new rule coming, the tribal people were benefited. They had a good livelihood and they had food security. Forest department and local communities are collaborating to regenerate degraded forests by planting trees. So wherever the forest had been destroyed, maybe by the colonial rulers or maybe due to the emergence of agriculture, all those things are now regenerated. Mining, quarrying and hunting are prohibited. Prohibited means restricted. Mining means taking the minerals from the ground. Quarrying means taking the mud, especially the sand, for construction of houses. That's called quarrying. Taking the mud from the forest land. All these are restricted now. On to the third question. Based on the details given in the above text or from what you already know about the forest, compare the type of forest that is closest to your area of living on the following aspects. So here we have the details of the Anantagiri forest, which is the closest to our locality. The density of trees. The forest closest to our locality is in the Anantagiri hills. As there is sufficient rainfall and enough sunlight, the forests are thick with high density of trees. What are the types of trees found? You can see them here. I have even put the pictures here. Acacia, teak, holler henna. So all these are the forest trees. There are many trees, but I had picked up only a few of them. And special features of the trees. The trees spread to a large area. They are tall and have thick stems and branches. They can survive in any tough climate. So they are very strong enough. These trees have a good stamina towards any of the climate. On to the fourth question. Observe the map of the forests in Telangana and find out which districts have the maximum forest covered area. The maximum forest coverage is found in Khammam, Adilabad, Warangal and Karimnagar districts. So these are the areas wherein we find maximum forest covered areas. On to the fifth question. A few children in a school participated in Vana Mahotsavam program and they planted some saplings. How would you respond to this? I would really appreciate the efforts of the children who participated in the Vana Mahotsavam program, because it is the only way through which we can rehabilitate the environment. As trees are planted on the barren lands, barren land means empty lands where nothing is there, roadsides, on either side of the road is roadsides, open places, it would definitely increase the forest cover and help in minimizing global warming and increase the rainfall. Children being a part of this program is truly a symbol of awakening for the future generation. Now, as these children are participating in the Vana Mahotsavam, these children would definitely grow up into the future citizens, and they are definitely going to encourage the next generation towards Vana Mahotsavam. So, this is really a good spirit over here. On to the sixth question. Read the paragraph under the heading Forests of Telangana and answer the question. The region declared as forest should be protected from illegal encroachment and deforestation. Any human activities such as poaching, deforestation, quarrying, mining should be dealt strictly by the government. New courses on conservation of environment should be introduced for the students to encourage the future generation towards the conservation of environment. Plantation drives should be conducted in the forest to fill up the gaps created by the old and fallen trees. That is, when the trees get old, they get dried up and they fall down. That place is empty. In those places, the students or the college going students, they can be encouraged to plant trees over there. Those gaps can be filled up. Hence, our forest cover area can be increased. On to the next question. What is the difference between evergreen forests and deciduous forests? Evergreen forests, they are always green as they never shed their leaves. Deciduous forests, the trees shed their leaves during dry months. So, when there is a dry season, they shed their leaves, and again during the wet seasons, again they spring out. The new leaves spring out. In the evergreen forests, there are bamboos, canes, jamun. These are the common trees here. And in deciduous forests, chiguru, vegi, neem are the common trees in the deciduous forests. And the evergreen forests are found in areas with high rainfall and warm climate, whereas deciduous forests are found in regions with rains only for some months. That is, only a particular period of time where there is rain. There we can see the deciduous forest. Whereas in the region with rainfall very frequently, we find the evergreen forests. These are found in Kerala, in the Kerala region. On to the next question. Observe the picture on page 59 and write a comment. So here you can see the picture here. Firstly, what's happening? Man and animals, they are living together. Then man is putting a fence and he is dividing his locality from the locality of the animal. They both are getting separated. And nextly, you see man has started cultivating only a part, a little bit of the land is given for the animals. At the edge you can see the elephant and the lion and a few trees. And here you see that area also has been covered with all the buildings, and man is again cultivating here. So what have we to comment on this? How can we interpret this is what the question is all about. In the beginning, man and animal shared the same forest and lived together with mutual understanding. Later, man made boundaries to differentiate his residence from that of the wild animals. Then nextly, man occupied much of the forest land and constructed buildings and cultivated a part of land, leaving a small portion of land for animals, and called it a reserved forest. After rapid urbanization, animals went into an endangered state. Hence, man tried to save them from extinction by maintaining protected forest. The greed of man has disturbed the food chain and the ecosystem, bringing a threat to the wildlife, both flora and fauna. Flora means plants, fauna means animals. So man has become so selfish and greedy, he started cutting down all the trees, and he might be thinking that he is developing, but this is a threat to he himself because the food web is disturbed in this way. Hope this session was useful to you in understanding and comprehending the lessons and getting to know a gist of this lesson. I would be happy if you subscribe and share with your friends. Do click the like button and leave a comment in the comment section. And we'll see you again with the next chapter. Thank you for watching and have a great day ahead.